Hello everyone and welcome back to a Gran Turismo video where we are in that Sauber Mercedes C9, and as you can tell by the title, this is going to be quite a hard race. Now let me explain why. So as we go through here, we've got a couple people going to the side to do a last to first challenge. However, my goal here is just to survive. Now this actually is my second race in VR of the night. My first one didn't go quite as well, but this one is even harder. If you do enjoy this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel as we head towards turn number 1. And you may notice here we are in VR. Now, what can you notice here? You can't tell where any car is at all. So I'm looking at that Nissan R92 CP in my wing mirror, which is actually insane to look at, by the way, when you are in VR. As we go through this right-hander up ahead, we've got Boy Wonder off the circuit there. We take full advantage of that as we settle into the Mulsanne straight now. And as you can see, by the window wiper and the noise, it's raining. So yes, we have rain in VR. And of course, this race goes from day to night as we get a big bump from behind, which then pushes us into Brown Banana to do the bump drafting that happens here. I know some of you do not like this. We fast forward a little bit, and here we've got spray on the cars now. This is one thing I really wish it would improve in VR, in my opinion. It's just a spray, because I feel I shouldn't be able to see anything right now after the spray. Sonic there in that Nissan goes on by. Definitely the quicker car on the Mulsanne straight here as we head down here. F1 Raphael with a 3-second penalty. They back out of this and obviously don't want to get involved in the race there because they have that penalty, which is good sportsmanship. You don't have to do that, but fair play to them. We come into Mulsanne corner then, hard on the brakes. I am on the intermediate tyre here because I did go out in the warm-up. Somebody there off on the right-hand side as we go through here. We don't lose too much time there. We do have traction control on one at the moment. That is just to make sure we do not spin out, as it is very easy to spin these Group C cars out then as we continue on here. A bit more bump drafting here with Brown Banana. The whole idea of this, if you ever wondered, is literally to keep up with the pack ahead. The whole idea there, maintain speed. There's no point in fighting this too much. We're about to go into the complex section now as we go into Indianapolis, slowing the car down. And we can see we've got cars up ahead as well as Mario Sonic's just ran a little bit wide here. Some people did choose a wet weather tyre. Oh, Mario Sonic! That was all over the place in the car as we go onto the brakes again, slowing it nicely down. And I looked there, I noticed the Mercedes went up my inside, or I thought they did. And this is one of the problems with this car. I can't see where anybody is, okay? The radar is not in my peripheral vision, okay? As much as it sees it on the screen, it's definitely not. I have to physically move my head to see where the car is. And it's really difficult to know where people are. So this actually makes this race even harder than normal, okay? We're going to head towards the pits and people going in the pits. And I completely forgot about the ugly bug that is in Gran Turismo, and we'll talk about that a little bit after as we go into the final part of the chicane here. Third gear exit, a little bit of oversteer there. We just catch it there as we continue on. Fusa goes around the outside there. Apologies for, well, it may have felt like I was crowding them out, but I had no idea you were there at the time. I was trying to catch the car. So I did notice someone was on my right hand side. That's Kelster in the Mazda 787B. What a legend of a car that is as we go in towards turn 1, and it's now going into darkness here at Le Mans as we go through this right hander. And this is what I like about VR, okay? I'm experiencing this race in a different aspect, in a different light, and it's so much more fun. I can't tell you, because it doesn't come through properly, because you're watching it in 2D, how good this actually looks when you're in VR. It does look amazing. It's so nice to be in the car. Oh, we're off. Did we hold it? We do indeed. You've got to be careful about where other people are. Really got to be careful there because I have no idea as we go into Tetra Rouge then. We're going to continue on through here and then head on to the Mulsanne. But you have to be, the experience you get here is, I'm like, okay, I have to be really safe now. I have no idea where people are. Put traction control to 2 because we are suffering a little bit with the rear wheel. Some people will be like, Hitch, it never had traction control. I've no idea whether these cars did or not. I assume they didn't, to be honest with you. As we give Boy Wonder a huge old bump draft there, as we do have that 0.5 second penalty for track limits from Tetra Rouge, as we go for another bump draft here as we continue on. Now, some people will not want bump drafting because of the SR. So you see Boy Wonder goes towards the right. I wasn't too sure about that one, so I was like, okay, I'll stick towards the left then as we continue on through. I got a bit of damage on my front wing there, actually. I did that much of a push on them as we continue on now down the Mulsanne here, looking for the kink up ahead. Where is it? We'll look for the chicane first. There's the chicanes. We know the kink's coming up. One thing to look for. Notice that I'm constantly turning right. It is fun, this. I've got to be honest. It is so fun. It's ridiculously hard. And you can see look at the radar there. My word, so much rain. Anyway, we advance a bit further on here. Up ahead, the French driver's got off the circuit, managed to bring it back on. We're with the pack once again here. P9 at the moment. Remember, some people did go in the pits, and I will explain that shortly with the, what I'd argue is a bug effectively in Gran Turismo, or weakness in terms of the engine. As we continue on through here, then we exit. And we're keeping up with everybody right now, okay? We're having a good race so far. as we exit Arnage then. And we've got Unknown Racer there taking a penalty. I had a bit of a penalty that I've taken now as well. We're catching up to the Italian Padrones as we head towards the Porsche curves. We go towards the left-hand side then. Are we going to get this done? It's going to be side by side as we head to the Porsche curves. And they go a little bit deep here, so I'm going to continue on through. Then somebody else has gone off the circuit. We're now side by side as we go through the Porsche curves. Unfortunately, they just understeer off there. Of course, they didn't do that on purpose. That was just the understeer from the wet weather, and I was in a bit of a weak position there in terms of that. But we do manage to go around the outside of them. Then we are up into P6 as we go into this left-hander, and then continue on out of there. So we're having a fun race at the moment. But again, this is one hell of a hard race in VR. I've got to be honest, one of the hardest races I've ever done because I have no awareness of other cars. It's ridiculously hard. Now, in the previous race, going through the Porsche curves, or going into Porsche curves, I just turned in, not knowing there was somebody there. Because the slipstream is so powerful, they were just there. I speared off, they stayed on the circuit, and I crashed. Now, literally, I will show that at the very end of the video as well, so you can see that incident. But you really can't tell. We advance further on here then, and as you see there, I'm looking in that wing mirror there to see where somebody is, and we get a bit of bump drafting going into this Indianapolis corner. We just got a bit too deep there. We try and catch the car then. Do we slow it down? Yes, we do just. Boy Wonder's gone through there then. Unknown Racer's gone back through. They have a 0.5 second penalty. I don't know how I managed to survive that. Going off the circuit in this wet weather conditions as we go through the right-hander of Arnage. We're going to exit here then. Unknown Racer with that penalty does get a good exit there though. We still got dirt on our tyres from venturing off at Indianapolis. And here we go towards the Porsche curves. Can I get the move done before the Porsche curves? That is the question. The rain slowly looking like it's about to dry up a little bit later on in the race. So this is the reason I'm staying out right now, because I can see that wet weather is starting to dissipate. Unknown Racer is off at Porsche curves. Going to come back on the circuit, and Noah's got to slam on the anchors. Now in VR, that is quite scary, to be honest with you. It is quite scary because it's like, whoa, a car's coming up. But we do manage to hammer on the anchors then. They've got Boy Wonder up ahead, struggling, going wide there through the Porsche curves, heading towards the left hand here. I have no idea what the name of this is, or whether it's part of the Porsche curves. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments. Anyway, we're going to continue towards the pit lane, so I wasn't sure what to do here. Now, in my mind, I probably should have pitted at this moment in time, knowing it was drying up here, but I decided to stay out just because I was like, well, maybe if it's going to go full dry, it's better to wait for the dry tyres. Again, forgetting about the weird situation in Gran Turismo at the moment as we continue on through here and exit then. And I'll talk about that in a second, because as we get later on in this race, you are going to see the impact of this. But we are in P3 right now. And hey, if I get P1 at least in a part of this race, that's kind of cool, right? VR P1 in the rain at night at Le Mans. What an experience this is as we head in towards the chicane, then slowing the car down nicely then. Boy Wonder's got a bit deep. Oh, a bit of oversteer there. Gonna have to slow it down as we continue on through here. I've got a bit of a run on them. Can I get on the inside? Yes, I can here as we head down here through the right-hander. We go at Dunlop as we go onto the brakes then, and we do slow it down, and we're up into P2. Look at that. Again, I can't see what's happening on the right, and my assumption there is I had passed them, but that was just my assumption. I didn't know for certain. As we head towards Tetra Rouge, through we go. Keep it on the circuit. Yes, we do. Oh, gonna be tight, gonna be tight. Looking in that wing mirror there as we continue down the straight, then going for the bump draft in here as we head towards Mulsanne corner. Oh, hello, somebody was off there. That must be a back marker. We've lapped somebody. We've lapped somebody in this race as we exit this corner. And then Boy Wonder there with 0.5. Look at them. Look how bright these flags are as well in cockpit. It looks so good. You can really tell when a yellow flag is and the blue flags are, etc. So nice. It really is. That's it. I would like a bit more awareness somehow. I have no idea how to do it, because arguably bumper cam has such an advantage over VR because you have the rear view mirror. You can see the radar in the center of your screen. But it's whether you want immersion or, you know, information. And that's the tricky part that Gran Turismo do have to balance when they're doing this kind of thing. We're going into Indianapolis then. We do get it slowed down nicely. No wheel spin here at the moment. I suspect the weather is starting to die down. We've gone under that second bar, second line on the left-hand side on the wetness curve. We just saw that in that left-hand side. We look around the corner. We continue on. Boy Wonder's about to take that penalty. Hopefully that puts us into the race lead. Yes, it does. Here we go. Into P1 in VR. Happy days indeed. Now, we're going to come in the pits lap number 4 because it is drying up, and I was like, okay, what do I do here? So we slow it down nicely. We do take the pits nice and cautiously. We don't get a pit line entry there. And you can see there, we're in P1. Automatically get overtaken there. Now, I was trying to decide between dry and intermediates. And I make a bit of a foolish error here because I was meant to click mediums. And for some reason, in my brain, I pressed right and press X. And I have no idea why. And I'm sat there in the pits, and I wasn't recording my microphone at the time. I went, why did I just pick that? It should have been mediums. I didn't pick it, and I have no idea why. Anyway, you can see we've got a lot of spray there, so maybe it works out in the end. but let's wait and see. And we are going to talk about the issue in Gran Turismo 7 in a second. So, tyres have gone on. Here we go, because there's no need to change tyres if I'm staying on intermediates. We're going to leave the pits right now, and what we're going to look for is in the distance. Well, we can see it's turning daylight here already, and you can already start to see it here. Notice the drying line. So, Gran Turismo's current problem with wet weather racing is that if you're at the back, you get end up with a drier track than at the front, which is fine, except when you pit first, you get the advantage of a drying track automatically, and you are so much faster. So it's really frustrating, actually, because if I had a pit on lap 2, for example, I would actually be with everybody else right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And you can see how dry that drying line actually is. Now, we get to lap 6. We saw somebody coming out the pit 7. That was Unknown Racer. And I'm trying to stay on the wet line here, just in case they took the dry tyres. Then on the wet part of the circuit, you see there the purple. That's how quick and the difference is here in terms of the track drying, how much faster you are. Because I shouldn't really be purple with some of the people in this race. And yeah, I'm staying on the wet weather side in case they had dry tyres. So it looks to me like they stayed on intermediates here as we go into the braking zone then. As we slow it down. Oh, we've got a bit too deep here. Can we get it stopped? We can indeed. But Unknown Race goes through it. They've got another 0.5 second penalty. It's like deja vu here as we get towards Arnage. Slowing it down nicely. Click the inside curb. Exit. There you can see how wet the track is here. But again, I should have pit earlier on in this race. Stayed on the intermediates. And I would be very much further up here. That is for sure. So I'm pretty sure Unknown Racer wouldn't have changed tyres in that last lap. Or maybe they did, I don't know, but they were still staying on the wet part of the circuit as we continue on through here then, through the Porsche curves, and then we head towards the final 2 chicanes. But you can see here the drying line there, see how dry the circuit has got when you're at the back, and this is a problem at the moment with wet weather racing. I enjoy the wet weather racing, I really do. I think this was fantastic. This race was very hard for me to do personally in VR because I had to be so aware of what was going on. Couldn't go quite as quick as normal. Even so, it was still good fun. Castle won there in the 787B. You saw we were racing them early on. Same with the Italian, you know. We were racing Padromes. And you can see there, we are 50... What's that? Nearly... Well, it's over 20 seconds, actually. 23 seconds difference there. So it's quite substantial there in terms of the gaps. I do think part of that is that drying track issue. What I'm going to do now, though, is show you the incident that I did or happened in the first race and show you why, in VR, it is so hard to do this race in the Sauber Mercedes. Right, here we are then at Indianapolis here as we go into the braking zone. You can see we've got a 0.5 second penalty. We're with the field here, lap number 2. This is a dry circuit this time around as we head towards this right-hander of Arnage. Now, remember, this was my first race. I was really lacking on awareness. So I was trying to get used to this car because I say it's so difficult to race this. We're going to get towards the penalty line here. Watch what happens. Right, okay, so I'm looking at my wing mirror there. I can see nobody's catching me there. Now, I can see on the radar, there was 2 arrows, but they were quite far away. Now, at this moment in time, I didn't then see the radar again. I can't see it in the top left. I'm looking up there if there was a wing mirror, not a wing mirror, a rear view mirror or anything. So I turn in here, and then somebody was on my inside. That's not on them, that's on me, completely there. And I go off the circuit and have a crash. And obviously I'm going to come back on the circuit and be careful. Completely on me, this one. I did apologise after the race. I had no idea who it was, because in VR you can't really see what's going on. But this is also something to look at. When you are racing and somebody turns into you at a corner, it's not very well good reacting saying, oh, I was there, etc. That's absolutely fine, you know, that's normal, etc. But sometimes, some people can't see where another car is just because of the camera angle they're using. As you saw right there, I could not see the life of me that somebody was on the inside, and then that was my issue because I caused the crash. But I did apologise for it, and that is all good, and we go from there. Racing incidents, they do happen. That's going to be it for me, though, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. Do check out my partners down below. Once again, a big thank you for your support and watching the video, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.